Some more recent news, we saw Taylor Jenkins fired from the Memphis Grizzlies. They are currently the fifth seed in the NBA. There are only 9 games left in the season. You heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. 9 games. Alex, we saw your facial expression. For the audio only listeners, you missed out on it. Alex, tell us what were your initial thoughts when you found out Taylor Jenkins was fired?
Crazy. Honestly, and I just watched them play OKC, and I thought to myself, if you can keep a coach during the obviously you want the coach when you guys are playing good, going deep into the playoffs, maybe get a run to the finals or something like that. You but that coach is also really good when you guys dip and you guys are the worst in the league type of team, right? And he's still steering that ship. And I thought Taylor Jenkins was a great coach for Memphis because they were not so great and they became great and they had that little peak 2021 to like 2023. They didn't do so well. Now they're getting back into it. I mean, just a few weeks ago, they were the second in the West. And don't get me wrong, I think they're like fifth right now. But I don't think, and this is the NBA, obviously. I just don't agree that you should fire the head coach because of the players' performances. Now, is it a direct correlation with the coach? Somewhat, but I don't think that the scapegoat should always be the head coach. And you fired him 9 games left, and they just finished playing the Celtics. Why are you? I don't understand. I truly don't. Um, Blasphemy. That's my thought.
Okay, with the Stephen A words, with Stephen A vocab. Toddy, what were your thoughts when you heard Taylor Jenkins was fired from the Memphis Grizzlies?
Blindsided, to say the least. I mean, Kevin already mentioned they're like fifth in the West. You're gearing up for playoffs. There's 9 games left of the season. What the hell's going on? I already alluded to it earlier when we were talking about Dame and Giannis, but the Adrian Griffin situation last year when they were like number one in the East, and then all of a sudden he gets fired. There was some tension between Giannis, Dame, the leaders of that team. I remember when Terry Stotts was let go early on in the season, and that was Damian Lillard's that was like his head coach in Portland. So there was a lot of comfortability there between Damian Lillard and Terry Stotts, and all of a sudden he's let go. There was some tension between the star players of that team, and ultimately management decided to let him go. Now, the success has been there with the Grizzlies, other than last year because pretty much the entire team was hurt, so you can't really put that on him. But Memphis has consistently been in the playoffs year in and year out, usually around the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference. You've had guys like, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, and obviously John Morant, who has been in and out of the lineup due to off-the-court issues and injuries. In the NBA, the front office will cater towards the star player versus in the NFL, it kind of caters more towards the team. Whereas, let's just say if the star player in the NBA has a problem with you, we can go to an example in Cleveland when Donovan Mitchell and JB Bickerstaff may or may not have seen eye to eye. They got his ass the fuck up out of there.
Now look out.
And obviously JB is doing a fine job in Detroit. Detroit's going to be making the playoffs what seems like closer to like 6-7 years. I mean, I think the last time they were in the playoffs was when Blake Griffin was there. But now you see what Kenny Atkinson's able to do with that same team, and they're number one in the East. I think we'll start to hear in the incoming days that him and Ja may or may not have seen eye to eye. I think we've already heard something about Ja didn't like the offense that he's been playing in. But I mean, we've seen Ja make all NBA teams, all-star teams with the same coach. So I don't know if it just got a little bit stagnant. I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to win Defensive Player of the Year probably, and his career, he's made All-Star this year. So I don't know if the system maybe catered more towards a big man, whereas to Ja, because we haven't really, Ja's been out of the lineup, like I already mentioned. So I don't know where the frustrations may or may not have been, but the Grizzlies were a successful team in the Western Conference, which is known to be the tougher conference in the NBA. So I'm still kind of blindsided why it's happening now, right before the playoffs, and because they're still in the playoff race to this day. So we're going to hear a bunch of things come out. Like we kind of heard with the whole Luka Doncic thing about how management didn't like him doing this, doing that. It was just, day by day as the trade kind of aged, we just heard more dumb shit about why, like trying to justify why this is why we traded Luka Doncic, which I don't think it'll ever be justifiable. I don't think anybody does.
Never.
But it kind of goes back to the front office is going to cater towards their star player versus a coach who can end up being expendable. I heard on Austin Rivers' podcast, which was he made a very good point. He was talking about how coaching is a lot different than it was back then to where it is now. An example that he gave was Allen Iverson, this league MVP Allen Iverson, used to get kicked out of practices by Larry Brown frequently. He's MVP of the league, and he's getting kicked out of practices. And that would never happen in today's NBA, ever. And I just think it kind of goes back to how times have obviously changed, but the way the front office is catering to these star players, because Kevin mentioned earlier, like I can just force my way out and get traded, and I just won't play. It's not like how it was back in the day, but yeah, Taylor Jenkins was a hell of a coach. I even mentioned in Shaun and Kevin and I's group chat, maybe the Kings go after Taylor Jenkins. Wouldn't be a terrible hire. I think that'd be really good for you guys, given the direction that you guys would be going into. I think the Kings will probably end up blowing a lot of shit up going into this year, and you could get a guy in Taylor Jenkins, help build some culture, and try and turn around for you guys.
Oh, like Mike Brown did, right? Coach of the year, winning seasons. Why would you want to leave a situation that's damn near similar? You're winning games and you're getting canned. So let me just move to Sacramento and do this all over again. Yeah, no. I mean, we talked about this. Or this is a stain on organizations, and it is a player-driven league. The last 4 out of the 5 coaches have been fired immediately or right after a playoff series for the Memphis Grizzlies. We have Lionel Hollins led the Grizzlies to 3 playoff series in his 4 seasons, and they parted ways this season after they won the Western Conference Final. They went to the Western Conference Finals, excuse me. Dave Jorger led the Grizzlies to 3 straight playoffs. Got canned after 3 straight playoff seasons. David Fitzdale led them to the offs in the first year. They started off 7-12 in the second year, and they canned them. JB Bickerstaff was named interim once they got rid of Fizz mid-season, and his first full season, they canned him. Taylor Jenkins, 44-29, 5th in the West, 9 games left, and you can him. If the goal was to can him after the season, you only got 14 games left. You're guaranteed 14 games, and you're however many, and you're just gonna switch it up right now. We talked about it in the midseason awards and midseason review. Ja Morant has not been playing great. We've been saying that Jaren Jackson could be the best player on this team, and it's a toss-up with Bane and Ja. And for us to even say those words is insane, because what we've seen of Ja Morant, like Toddy said, was with Taylor Jenkins. Taylor Jenkins found a way to crack the Rubik's Cube and do it. People were saying, hey, I'm not one of these people, that Ja Morant could win number 1. He's better than Zion. It hurts me to see this, Toddy, because you mentioned I'm a Kings fan. You get a guy to come in, lay down the foundation, lay down the groundwork, and then you hire and then you can him after all these winning seasons. Alex mentioned their playoff run in 2020. They came in and like Josh said, they climb up the chimney. There was a time where we thought they could come out of the West. And now I don't even know what seed they are, but they are now with they're the 5th seed. Oh, I knew that. They're the 5th seed, and they have no coach. So what is this new coach going to do?
Right before the playoffs, too. That's the crazy
really
part.
Tough situation. If like I said, if the plan was to can him after the season, you should have just let him finish the year out.
Exactly.
But doing this with 9 games left, what kind of organization? What does this show other players of your organization? We've been with this guy for all season, all training camp, and now you want to implement a whole bunch of new stuff? Now, don't get me wrong. They win a playoff series and they make some shit shake. I'll come on the podcast and said Taylor Jenkins was the problem. But until then, like Toddy mentioned, we've seen All-Star, we've seen All-NBA, we've seen DPOYs from Jaren Jackson. We were saying Desmond Bane could be one of the top 3 trios in the NBA. Like, we talked about Desmond Bane being one of those guys, and this team was built with this culture, and it's from Taylor Jenkins. I know it sucks because last season they were hurt, and then the season before that, your star player is dangling water guns. So, and he's still, with all of that, continued to take him to the playoffs and continued success. So I don't know what a basketball coach has to do in the NBA to keep his job anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know. Mike Brown was fired after coach of the year.
Unless you're like Mike Malone, Greg Pop, or like Eric Spoelstra, every job, like no one's safe.
Mike Malone was once fired too.
I mean, shit. Before the Nuggets turned it around, people were talking about firing Mike Malone.
If he didn't win that one chip a few years back, they'd be like, he got to go. It's like that.
So, it's a lot going on, man. But as an NBA fan, it hurts to see this because I couldn't imagine being a Grizzly fan, but from a Kings fan perspective, building this foundation and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and then just seeing the foundation break and the whole house collapse.